home to one of the greatest teams in NFL history, a World Cup stadium, and where Mahomes shines. Continuing with our series on the World Cup stadiums, today we are going to get to know the Arrowhead Stadium or Kansas City Stadium. Shall we get to know it? Hello, my friends. Let us get to know another World Cup stadium. Let us get to know the one that is also one of the most vibrant stadiums in the world. In Kansas City, it became a reference for loud fans, big games, chimneys, and a very strong relationship with the Kansas City Chiefs, in addition to remaining one of the most traditional venues for American football in the United States. It is located in Kansas City, Missouri, within the Truman Sports Complex next to the Kaufman Stadium. During the 2026 FIFA World Cup, it will appear under the temporary name of Kansas City Stadium as mandated by FIFA's rule for arenas with commercial names. Apart from that, the stadium is also known for the agreement with GEA, which gave rise to the alternative name GHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium since March of 2021. The home belongs to the complex managed by the Jackson County Sports Complex Authority, and the Chiefs remain linked to the venue by a lease agreement until 2031. While we are talking, you can see on your screen the images of the stadium. It is a very old stadium, one of the oldest in the NFL and one of the oldest of the 2026 World Cup. To give you an idea, its history begins back in the move of the Texans from Dallas to Kansas City in 1963, when the team started to be called the Chiefs and began to play its home games at Municipal Stadium. The club had a need to have a new stadium, and since then this idea was born until the stadium actually left the drawing board. Construction began in 1968 and the Arrowhead Stadium was ready in time for the 1972 season. On the 12th of August 1972, the Chiefs defeated the St. Louis Cardinals 24-14 in the first preseason game there. Then came the official regular season debut, which ended in a defeat to the Miami Dolphins, the same team that had beaten the Chiefs in the last game at Municipal Stadium, that two-overtime playoff on Christmas of 1971, that to this day is remembered as the longest game in NFL history. The first home victory at the new arena came on the 5th of November 1972, when 82,094 fans saw the Chiefs beat the Raiders 27-14. In terms of size, the Arrowhead is gigantic. It has a capacity for 76,416 spectators. It is the 25th largest stadium in the United States, the 4th largest in the NFL, and the largest sports facility in Missouri by capacity. As it operates in the open air, it does not have a retractable roof or a closed cover, and this helps to explain why the experience there depends so much on the weather and the energy of the fans. The text sent does not detail a complete official division of sectors with the name and capacity of each block, but clearly mentions upper stands, lower areas, the box sector, and the so-called horizon level, in addition to spaces reserved for the press and the end zones. It is also clear that it is not a stadium of exposed cement as the main element. The operation is based on stands, seats, and hospitality areas, and not on a design of raw concrete. The design of the stadium also drew attention for some period details. In 1973 was the first NFL stadium to feature arrows on the yard markers to indicate the closest goal line, something that started small with the appearance of an indigenous arrowhead and later ended up spreading through the league until it became practically standard. In 1974, the Arrowhead hosted the Pro Bowl. The week before the game was marked by an ice storm and intense cold, but on the day of the match, the temperature rose to 41 degrees Fahrenheit, melting a good part of the ice and snow. The American Football Conference defeated the National Football Conference 15-13 in a curious memory of how the stadium had already entered history in contexts outside of the regular season. The Arrowhead's reputation for noise became a brand of its own. Since September of 2014, the Chiefs fans have been recognized by Guinness as the loudest in the world in open stadiums. This type of reputation did not come out of nowhere. In 1990, in a game against the Denver Broncos, the referee even threatened a penalty if the fans did not quiet down after John Elway was trapped near his own goal line without being able to execute the play. On the 13th of October 2013, fans broke a world record with 137.5 decibels in a game against the Raiders. The record was surpassed by Seattle shortly after, but the Chiefs regained the mark on the 29th of September 2014 in a Monday Night Football game against the New England Patriots with 142.2 decibels. Renovations are also part of the stadium's life. On the 4th of April 2006, voters in Jackson County approved a tax increase to finance bonds that will pay $850 million in renovations at Arrowhead and Kauffman Stadium. The approval helped guarantee a new lease agreement for the Chiefs, which kept the team at the stadium until at least 2031. However, the plan for a retractable roof shared with Kauffman Stadium, which was part of the original 1967 design, was defeated. This also led Kansas City to withdraw the bid to host Super Bowl 49, which ended up going to Glendale in Arizona. The final renovations plan was announced on the 15th of August 2007 and reached the value of $375 million. The Hunt family reinforced the foreseen contribution, which reduced the public cost by $50 million. The work brought a Chiefs Hall of Fame, a tribute to Lamar Hunt, and seats on the so-called horizon level designed for owners of luxury boxes to watch the games outdoors. The reconstruction began on the 3rd of October 2007 at the same time that Kauffman Stadium was also undergoing renovations, and both stadiums were ready for use in the 2010 season. Later, in 2019, the Chiefs announced new improvements for the 2020 season, including changing seats on the lower level, a new big screen on the east end, and adjustments to the changing rooms. In sporting use, the Arrowhead has always been much more than the home of the Chiefs. In University American football, it hosted 5 Big 12 Conference Championship finals, in addition to huge rivalries like the border war between Kansas and Missouri, the 2007 game between the Jayhawks, then number 2 in the country, and the Tigers, number 3, became so big that the media nicknamed it Armageddon at the Arrowhead, and the stadium received 80,537 people, one of the largest crowds in its history. The venue also hosted games like Iowa State against Kansas State, the Farmageddon Classic, and Division II matches between Northwest Missouri State and Pittsburgh State. In 2024, Kansas still played 4 home conference matches at the stadium due to renovations on its own field. In football, the Arrowhead also had an important role. When Major League Soccer was created in 1996, it became the home of the Kansas City Wiz, later Sporting Kansas City, until the team left at the end of the 2007 season. Later, the stadium hosted a friendly against Manchester United on the 25th of July 2010, a game that ended in a victory for Manchester 2-1. The venue also hosted matches for the United States men's national team, the women's national team, and even a big Major League Soccer game on the 13th of April 2024 when Inter Miami defeated Sporting Kansas City 3-2 in front of 72,610 spectators. It also hosted matches of the 2024 Copa America, such as Uruguay against the United States. For the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the stadium was chosen as one of the venues and will host 6 matches, 4 of the group stage, 1 in the round of 32 and 1 quarterfinal. The mayor of Kansas City estimated the cost of the renovations necessary to adapt the space to FIFA's requirements at $50 million. Among these changes, the text mentions a reduction in capacity at the corners of the end zone, the creation of VIP areas and space for the press, in addition to improvements in the field's ventilation. In February of 2024, these plans were presented with the idea of starting work in 2027 if a sales tax increase were approved. But the proposal ended up rejected, and this package was left without a political path to advance. Even so, the future of the Arrowhead has already started to be discussed in another direction. On the 22nd of December 2025, the team announced its intention to leave the stadium to build a new home in Wyandotte County in Kansas, with an opening scheduled for the 2031 NFL season. This would open the way for the demolition of the Arrowhead after the 2031 season, closing a cycle that began back in 1972 and went through generations of fans. The Kansas City Stadium joins tradition, size, noise, and a history that accompanies the very evolution of the sport in Kansas City. It has already been the stage for decisive NFL games, university finals, regional rivalries, international football, and major renovations, always maintaining a very unique identity. Now, in the World Cup, it has been receiving big games and has indeed entered the history of football with the biggest event in the sport. If you liked it, leave a like. Before I go, I am leaving another video in the card that is playing on your screen. Click and continue with us. Best wishes.